Mr. Mayor.
Hey.
Thank you for sitting down and being our second guest on this podcast.
I've been looking forward to it.
Good. Yeah, we're just having a couple conversations off camera here before we got started, about all the connections that the community has. But I want to kick this off. You're really the only mayor of Cambridge I've ever known.
When people say that, that really kind of freaks me out. I'm like, but then there has been a few years past. Mm-hmm. And when you're busy and you're having fun, I guess that happens. But we just, there's always plenty to do. And hopefully you've liked more years than you haven't liked in your time as knowing me as a mayor. But.
Yeah, well, I got to start off with just a short little funny story.
Okay.
When I was in elementary school, the way that I learned to spell the word tomorrow was using your name.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if that was Miss Tuttle in second grade or Miss Evancho in third grade, or even if it was Miss Miller in first grade. But one of my teachers back in the day finally got sick of all of us students spelling tomorrow wrong and said, "Do you know the mayor?" We're like, "Yeah, we know the mayor." Okay, well, here's how you spell
all you gotta do is O-W on the end and you're in.
Yeah, that is
Unless you
right.
choose to call me Thomas, and then you're really going to be.
Well, none of us knew you by that.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Mayor, this podcast is really about, one, getting to know what you do. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, but I really want people to also know who you are as a person, because I think that is what really binds our community together, is when we realize that we're not just people doing jobs in this community, but we're also people we are people that have connections and that have other passions other than what everyone sees. So why don't you just talk a little bit about how long you've been mayor, why you chose to run for mayor, why you're still doing this job, even though it's oftentimes thankless and stressful. Give me a little bit of that.
I don't know. I always thought it was a calling. I always felt drawn to it. But first of all, I've always had a small business hair salon. I came out of high school, vocational school. I went to all the local schools, Cambridge City schools, and then went to vocational school, came out, got licensed in the state of Ohio for cosmetology, and worked in a couple years, apprenticed under Connie Warren, who's a big name around here, doing hair and stuff. And then I started my own place. I'm doing the quick version here.
Yep.
My sister and a couple other dedicated souls stuck by me. To this day, it's still going pretty strong. And during that journey, I was raised around. My one grandfather was a pastor, and my other grandfather was very active in elected office. Many years of service between the township, school board, and city council. And Robert Burris, and so I was around that and didn't know. Sometimes when we're young and growing up, just like you mentioned about the tomorrow thing, there's these little linchpins that activate as you go forth. And one of those is I love people. I love working on situations, putting teams together, motivation. I think when I was appointed to the park board under Chuck Schaub, another long-serving mayor. In fact, we are currently tied in the amount of terms that we have been in office. Just a footnote. But I get told this all the time. But Charles Shaw put me on the Cambridge Park Board. I started out as a member, worked my way up to chairman, and we put a plan together to put the swimming pool back out, which is now plus 30 years. I mean, that's crazy. But I'm so thankful of how it's been maintained. That was a game plan. Lynn Jones was a council member back then, liaison to the park. Alan Drake was the park superintendent. A lot of great memories. And our pool was really struggling back in them days. And to have that facility now, and a lot of towns don't have that, and maintain it. Mm-hmm. And we may not have everything, but we have key pieces. And we're very proud of it, and our people gather around that. And when I appoint people to the park board now, which I, as mayor, I do, I always think through that. Who is that person to link into that, and will they run with it like that? And we've been very fortunate. Yep. But and I don't know. I keep saying sometimes if I could find someone that would go as hard as maybe we go, I'd vote for them. But Cambridge is my home, our home. it's in my heart. I can't quit thinking about it. I go hard. The good Lord wants me to be here, I think. So one day at a time.
Yeah.
I put my feet on the ground, go hard, meet people where they're at. We have some hardships sometimes. We've had some ugly ones. I'm sorry for those times that get tangled up, but we have to go this way. And we kicking and screaming sometimes, but we've won more than we've lost. And even when we lose, we try to keep it promising for a better possibility later on and regroup and find another way. But a lot of good things.
Yeah.
So that's the short version.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of years to pack into that short little answer, but
you know, I got, I guess I am married and have 3 children, and they are all married now. That's all taken place in the 16, 17 years I've done this.
Wow.
So that's a new adventure going forward. As I look at the town in a young person's eyes, my own grandchildren included, as they go to Cambridge City schools and, you know, working together with our school system and our ball fields and our parks and our streets and our sidewalks. Mm-hmm. You know, that's so... How can you not be excited about that? I mean, I'm pumped all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, just getting here to see you today, we were talking about getting ready for Arbor Day, and we're a 40+ year Tree City, USA. We're in the top 4 in this part of the state. I mean, Cambridge has got a lot of history. We got some other things sometimes, but I wouldn't trade it. I'm telling you right now, I'm so glad to be here. I can't tell you. And for other people that's not here yet, we'll see you later, but we're here, you know.
Yeah.
As we look at a building, we need to find a way to put some in it, you know, but it's, you know, technology is changing. It's the world we live in. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the things I always appreciate when I get to talk to you is there are many people in our community, but in communities all across the country, that dwell on the problems, and I never get the sense that you dwell on the problems. Anytime you think of a problem, I always hear you thinking or talking about how we're going to come up with a solution, and I really appreciate
I play
that.
a game with myself in case I do get asked that stuff, because people do like to, not always, but there's ornery ones out there like to give you a little zip and see how you hold up, you know. And I think about these things all the time. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think there's a small percentage that think we don't ever think of that, but you can't do it all. There's just simply not enough time today, not enough money, and there's key focuses that links to other things. You know, when you look at your tax coupon on your real estate, the schools, your city, your county, those, and then underneath that the trickle-down effect, you know, and trying to navigate all that, whether it's water and sewer and police and fire and ambulance service, and that's a big one. I mean, you know, that's been a struggle that we didn't see coming, and all of a sudden the last 5 years occupied a lot of time, and we're not out of that yet, but it's improved, it's stable, it's better, but it's not fixed.
No.
And in fact, truthfully, a lot of things are never totally fixed. It just kind of goes from there. The world of the internet and the orneriness that goes with it, that's been a challenge that I think I'm perfect for that in a way, because I simply block. I don't even look at it. And now I get secondhand news. I get someone runs in here every day. Have you seen what? Oh, they put this. It's okay, because the rest will play itself out. It's an emotional chain reaction of the moment, and half the time, maybe even more than half the time, it's not even correct. But you have to let it play itself out until the next little bomb goes off, you know, however. And it's kind of comical if you stand back and watch what you know is really going on and what's not. But at the same time, I have a yearn, like everybody does, of things on your childhood that went on that you're like, man, I wish we had that back. A bowling alley.
Oh my. Yes.
I mean, we had 2 and we have none?
Yeah.
How can that be?
Yeah.
But newer generations will drive 30 minutes, and during the rough moment changes, you know, people age out or sell or can't do it anymore, and someone didn't follow in behind it. Who is the next volunteers for veterans, mayors, county committee? I mean, you know, they just kind of happen over time.
Do.
There's no perfect path for that.
No, there's not. I'm going to take a break real quick just so we can adjust this and make sure you're all the way on the camera there.
Yeah.
There you go. When you leaned back, it started, you were still in it, just barely.
You know what to look for. I'm looking at you. I have no idea.
No, I just keep taking a peek every now and then, making sure battery's good, we're still recording, all that. But, okay, so, I mean, we've talked a lot today about how you became mayor, the calling to become mayor, why you're still doing it, because clearly you still have tons of passion for the city and for this job. But I also want people to know who you are outside of work. So when you're not in this office, and I know that like being a mayor is all consuming, but I also know that you like to go for jogs with people, and you have a family. So I want to know those kind of things. What do you do outside of work?
Well, outside of work, I'm just busy. I'm busy all the time, and that's just me. I like to be busy. Mm-hmm. I'm real active with refereeing basketball. We just came out of basketball season. I did 45 games. Wow. Out an hour out on all four sides of us. About 3 to 4 games a week. My wife tolerates that. We visit the kids, and they come to our house, and of course we have 6 beautiful little grandchildren, all in the last 6 to 7 years. Our son just got married here in December, so we got a new relationship there that's busy, and Zaven, so Zaven started teaching school, and Jenna works in the education field, and my daughter Abby's a nurse, and busy. Our families are fairly big, so there's lots of family activities, birthday parties, graduations, get-togethers. In fact, most of us hearing this tape will be like, oh yeah, I know them, the Taylors and the Warnocks and the Orrs and the Burrises. And I mean, that's what Guernsey County is. We're all linked, and it's quite sizable and pretty active. I like to run. Sometimes we're starting to walk a little bit more, smell the roses. We're in the cemetery, in the parks. Even I am the mayor, but I'm Tom Moore first. I really still am. And I really don't do anything different. It just works because I kind of was a practicing mayor way back when. I mean, I stood back and I served in township trustee for 8 years in the middle there. And I did the election thing, and I studied the situation. I'm active in the Republican groups. I'm the vice chair of the county. I was the chairman, but I believe in helping. I don't want to be the leader of everything. The mayor is my total focus, and father and grandfather and stuff like that. But we go to First Baptist Church pretty much every Sunday. We sometimes visit other churches when asked, because I like to see, again, people in their element. I'm invited to quite a bit of things like that. I try to hit as many as I can. I'm really privately, the senior population is a big, I care about that a lot. Mm-hmm. As we protect their environment until the day they go on. And I'm slowly I'm starting to enter into some of that. I went to my 45th class reunion this year. I'm like, whoa! Where did it go?
Well, time flies when you're having fun. Everyone knows you have fun.
Well, I helped out coach cross country for 10 years. I didn't expect to do that, but me and Jen through the Chamber of Commerce, we got busy there trying to patch everything together. Running in Guernsey County has always been good. Ron Guthrie and the Salt Fork Striders when I was in high school, and Rusty Roberts. You just see it. You live it. No matter what school you come out of, there's this linchpin of things that connect you, whether it's football, basketball, running, sports, track, band, choir, just lots of things. The courthouse and veterans and special events and Veterans Day and stuff like that. To be able to be involved at those at a higher level, that's such an honor to me. Mm-hmm. But I like to do everything. Riding 4-wheelers, we hunt a good bit in our family. I don't do it as much as I used to, but my son does it a lot, so I tag along now. Trapping, most people would probably be, what? Well, he traps, But back when I was a kid, we'd go down to the creek, all the time. But that's how a lot of people grew up in Guernsey County, if you really look into it. The world's changing, but core values really shouldn't change. God and country. And then, go from there and pray about things. And we've all got problems. We've all got something to work on. And I guess I just want to be part of a solution.
Yeah.
If I can meet with somebody and help them get over a hump, and maybe they can help me, our Father's beating our heads, literally sometimes. Don't burn your bridges. Mm-hmm. You're going to pass that person again. Mm-hmm. And that's so prevalent in a town of 11,500 people. Today they're a banker, tomorrow they're planting flowers. They're going to Salt Fork Festival and volunteer, and then pretty soon they have a tragedy, and they need, it's just really unbelievable, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's looking at it from different angles. Right now, locally in 2025, we're going to have a weekly newspaper, and we're going to be thankful about that.
Oh.
When we used to have a daily newspaper, how did we go through? It's just, why did the world change like that? We got Maysville getting ready to play for a state championship, and no one has wrote an article about the basketball team yet. I mean, it's on the radio, thank God. I want to thank God for them doing their job that way. But I'm just saying.
We got 2 local teams because Monroe Central.
Monroe Central. And that's huge. And that's southeastern Ohio. They can't take that from us. And daggone it, I hope they both bring it home. And that would be completely amazing. And I just pray that one of them definitely does. But again, we're knocking at that door. And then, Indian Valley, just out the road, won the state football championship. First football team in this geographical area to win a state championship. And when you look at all the good ones that came down the pipe, how many generations? That's incredible.
I know. It is.
Cambridge ran into them in basketball, and they walked out of there going, that team was ready. Well, it's an attitude.
It is.
It's an attitude, and we're doing better. We had a big basketball year. We did.
Yeah.
We were above 500. And that's huge. And I say thank you for them boys and girls that helped do all that. So.
Yeah.
I'm getting off on.
No, you are but this is who you are. You care about all these different things. So it's not going off on a tangent or anything. It's who you are.
I have that how to build a community
I was
thing.
reading that before.
And if you read down through that, every day people just take a section of that and check a couple of them, and we're on target.
Yeah.
I said this to Leadership Guernsey. I was talking to them the other day. Mm-hmm. And as we were getting ready to leave, I looked out across the room. I said, challenge yourself tonight in your own neighborhood. Look to the left, look to the right, and name every person that lives in those houses. And I'll guarantee you can't tell 3 or 4 of them. You don't know. Because we're busy. We're busy doing what everybody thinks busy. And someone's moved in, and they may be a little quieter. Maybe they're nervous, you're nervous. In the world we live in today, you hear all these stories about don't go up on somebody's porch, might scare them, or they aim a gun at you, or the dog will bite you, or something, Who knows what we really think.
Yeah.
But those things matter.
They do matter. And that's kind of what I want to pivot to kind of end our conversation today. Because you are the mayor, I think you're going to have great insight on a few of these questions.
I don't know.
But I asked the same question to Jennifer, and I plan on asking the same questions to everyone that I interview on this podcast. And I'm going to start off with, what are the biggest problems that we face in Cambridge and Guernsey County? For the next 10, 15, 20 years, however you want to take it.
Well, I don't want to get in arguments with people, because for everything I think, someone else thinks something else.
Yeah.
And I get it. And I'm willing to debate that, but in my core heart, family life is challenged out there. It's no one's fault. I think everyone's trying. We want to be loved, and we want to love others deep down, no matter what we come off saying sometimes. But all of a sudden we're searching for our identity again. And what is that? And there's all these groups, everybody wants to belong to something, and then they get tangled up and they get going, and Facebook plays into it, and some fun forms a group there, and it tears, but if you get down to, as a mayor, family life is challenged, the neighborhood, again, recognizing your neighbor, being kinder a little bit, helping out each other. But Guernsey County and Cambridge also, if you look around us, we're one of the best volunteer groups. We see it in Dickens and the light shows. and the downtowns and the organizations, that's also our strength.
Yeah.
It's a weird mix. And then the other thing, addiction. Addiction's a real problem.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you look at who's going to jail or what caused the family to bust up a little bit, it usually boils. It could be gambling, it could be marijuana, it can be hard drugs, it can be alcohol. And with that said, we have organizations that are in Guernsey County and Cambridge that are very active in helping addiction. But tough love still matters. I don't know what that version looks like going on in our future. I understand we don't paddle and we aren't allowed to, get excited and stuff. But then again, most of my generation, we hear the word bullying. What is bullying? Well, it's a problem. And you used to be able to turn it off and go home at night, and now they can reach you through the cell phone. That is a problem.
Yeah.
And I say to parents, please take those phones at 1 hour some point in the evening and shut them down. And talk to your children and know what's going. Do the best you can. I mean, tighten that up the best you can. And then it's just stuff like that. Those two things is enough to keep you busy for a long, long time. I mean, I could get into a lot of other stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, do we have enough money? But it's not all about money. It ends up getting to money at some point. But in the meantime, smile, laugh, assist, volunteer. Just going outside and speaking to that elderly person once or twice, or, I challenge myself weekly to at least think of 3 to 5 names that I know and when's the last time I talked to them. I may try to call them. I sometimes try to stop. Or check with a relative to see how they're doing. Because sometimes, they're going through a time where it's okay if you're not, they don't want to be physically seen, but, just checking on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a pastor said this one time in a congregation I was in, and he looked out around the room and he said, and I challenge anybody that hears this tape, who's following the person you look up to? Is it you? Mm-hmm. Is it someone close to you? Mm-hmm. Like in a lot of churches, the people that played the organ or the piano, there's not as many of those people as there once was. Just rarities. Just different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard as a young person to make friends anymore. We're lucky that my wife and I moved back, and we have a friend network already established here. Yeah. But when we were away in Nashville and Cincinnati, it took a while to develop a network of people and to meet people, because people just don't. You can't necessarily rely on the traditional methods right now. But in a small town, I think you can create a system.
You still have a fallback system
Yeah.
of safety, and it's hard to trust.
Yeah.
And I can see that because, I feel sorry for the young ones that get. I think these cell phones. I get on this. They take these pictures, and all having fun, and they didn't think anything of it. But that's forever. Mm-hmm. And we're still learning on the other end. The people making decisions for hiring and firing and jobs and certain selections and stuff. How does that work? Do you hold that? Do you work with it? Now, with that said, I see also like a high state football. I'll use that for example. Those poor players have all that information feed. It used to be just the TV once in a while, or maybe the coach, or maybe the newspaper, or maybe a radio slot. But it's constant. Mm-hmm. Like even the coach supposedly had death threats because of the Michigan game. That was an immediate response. And the negativity people were just trying to out-negative people. Mm-hmm. It was a game to them. Mm-hmm. But it's not a game to that person on the other end that may have... And I pray to that little person for the first time that turned on their cell phone and happened to stumble on high state football and the coach's comments and reads one of those comments for maybe one of the first times they ever did it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. How do they handle that?
Yeah.
Me and you could glance at that and blow it off and be like, that's move past it, turn the page. And it's a challenge.
It is. It is. But we're gonna pivot into it right now, and that's, with every. I fundamentally believe that the only good reason to identify a problem is if you're able to also identify how to solve that problem. Mm-hmm. Problems are not worth any of our time unless we can sit down and try to figure out a solution. So on that front, what are the biggest opportunities we have in Cambridge and Guernsey County coming up?
We've got an awesome, we still have core, even though families are challenged, we still have we have some of the most solid families still out there. And therein lies the rub. And they're pushing back against that, and there's more positive than negative. So our youth population are strong. They're still focused on wanting to educate. The workforce is still there, and I think other people, when you look at the state of Ohio map, we're the next great frontier, southeastern Ohio. That's the king. And I tell you what, you coming back was a smart move. We need attorneys that know that and come from here. Gas and oil, natural parks, natural resources. I think we're going to revamp ourselves. Byesville, Cambridge are going to mesh. They're going to. I don't know if it's going to be 10 years, 20 years, but we're already doing things. And then the little towns like Senecaville and Quaker City, they have awesome history, but they're dealing with some strife. Property code, abandoned housing, the big house, the little house. What does that look like? But they're still hanging in there with their traditions. We helped put a sidewalk in Senecaville a couple years back, and just simply having a sidewalk again. We tore down a big old through our cooperation on the land bank with the county. We tore something down in Pleasant City to make their drive-through better, and they got a little restaurant on the backside leading into Noble County. I don't know, there's all kinds of opportunity out there. I think our schools have the YMCA swimming pool. How dare I possibly forget that? We're chewing on that right now backstage. That's going to happen. That's going to happen, folks. and you have send your money, send your help, send your volunteerism. But by doing that, we'll have Buckeye Trail, Cambridge, John Glenn, Caldwell, Shenandoah, Meadowbrook, all have a swim team. Mm-hmm. I think it'll happen. We're starting to see shooting sports with clay pigeons. That's big out there right now. Cambridge doesn't have a team, but I know Buckeye Trail does. John Glenn's starting, getting one. Shenandoah. Tom Lanning, one of my right-hand people, is real active in teaching that. I know a couple of people, Scott Brown and them out there doing the fundraisers. But job opportunities, I think this high-tech corridor is just going to be off our shoulder, and that's good.
Yes.
Do I want a 10,000 employer to land in Guernsey County? If we can make it work, yeah. But it's okay if we're a bedroom community a little bit, like Thornville, Newark, and they're the bedroom to Columbus. Property values go up. You can still keep your family values. There's a little bit of space. I like seeing green and trees. Mm-hmm. Some of these people grew up in the big cities. I think, honestly, I'd say 80% of our population don't want that big, never seen a cow and never rode a horse. Yeah. Don't know what a good county fair is all about. But we've got all that.
Yeah.
I mean, to have Seneca Lake and Salt Fork and Tappan Lake and Wills Creek, and we're getting ready to put that trailhead on through here to complete that task. That's going to be huge. And the day's going to come, I believe, we'll have a little canoe livery. I don't know when it's going to come. But we can shoot down the creek, right on down, get out here right there at the viaduct.
Yeah.
Backside of that, on the south side, Cambridge City Parks has a great big chunk of land right there. It's kind of dormant, not doing too much. Got an old pavilion that's falling apart. We'll get there eventually. It'll get back. But, that's what you do.
Little by little.
That's what you do.
Little by
And never say never.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I'm a little skeptical, and I've learned, sometimes step back and let somebody else volunteer on something. You can't. No one person can do it all.
Yeah.
It's all about sharing and working off each other. Just like Jennifer when she did the first interview, when you talk around meeting people, certain names come off of her, certain names come off of me, certain is going to come off a couple others. That's what we do. You're gonna have a lot of fun with this thing.
I am. It's a blast. I love doing it.
And it helps. It helps that you know some of this and hear it, and then you can help somebody else when you're with your group of friends, and someone gets excited, maybe pops off. Well, I can't believe. Well, now you got to check on this, and then every once in a while one falls off the table, and you're like, pick up the number of that specific person, and say, hey, just as a friend, I'm kind of hearing this. What do you know? Maybe either get the complete truth, or you're going to tell them something they don't know and help them get a link to go take care of it. Maybe make that a little better.
Yes.
Make that a little bit better.
Yeah.
One of the big opportunities also, we've got 7 or 8 contractors working in our downtown right now. You know, you can drive up through here and see some empty spots. But behind the scenes, it's percolating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the pottery thing next there, the Jeffersonian building up here, Lisa Brown and the gang up here.
Midtown Market.
Midtown Market. And people say, what are they going to do? Well, that's going to be an Everly. They're going to do some certain thing. I'm not speaking for them. They've got a plan, and it's pretty cool. If they do half in the first year, it's going to be huge. And then down here, you know, Ford Tire and what he's done down in that area where Jennifer's building is. We've stretched our downtown. The county's done an awesome job. They're going to move the veterans group and the voting booth over to the old All Don's building over on Steubenville that we've already as a city, new sidewalks, drive over there. It's changed our dynamics. You can enjoy driving through Wheeling Avenue now. People's not pushing you through 300 miles. If you're in a rush a little bit more, go over there on Steubenville, zip on down. You don't have a stop sign or a red light. So there's some things, and there's some businesses going to go down the corridor down to Woodlawn. And, that tells me that people are still definitely willing to involve their money in our town. And that speaks volumes.
Yep.
And then there's the day-to-day, you know, and we've got some transient people that we got to find places for. And sometimes they're just moving through. Mm-hmm. You want to be as kind as you can to them, but either actively get involved with us and help and, you know, fight to get off your addiction, or unfortunately, I openly say that you need to move on. We have to stand for something. We can't just fall willy-nilly for anything. And there's some hardship in there somewhere in that middle piece. That's where I hang out a lot, whether I want to or not sometimes. But I have a safety director and a service director and a police chief and a fire chief, a great council, clerks, property code, 19 different departments.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot to take on.
We turn this camera off. We're gonna. There's stuff laying there that needs to be looked at.
All right. Well, I have one more question for you, and this is the final question. And this one doesn't have to be a long explaining answer.
Yeah, but good luck with that. I tend to talk.
That's true,
so.
but that's okay.
Once you give me a question, I'm going to answer.
That's fine. I appreciate it. The last question is, and you can take this any way you want to. It can be a physical resource or anything you can think of. What is the most important resource in the entire world?
Most important resource in the entire world. Well, it's a tie.
Okay.
In my mind, I mean, people are right here, but without God, I get emotional.
It's okay.
I just, you know, we just gotta recognize that in your own interpretation. I'm not going to tell anybody how to handle that, because we're all sinners, and therein lies the challenge every day. And I see people fall and get back up, but God forgives. But it's people, and that's where, you know, we're on earth in our area, doing the best we can as we've been taught, but we always must continue to learn. I mean, it never stops. I mean, all of a sudden I wake up and I'm 63, soon to be 64, and I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, you talk to a kid in high school, that old geezer, you know, and you know, and but I feel like if people recognize people and have some God in their life, things go so much smoother.
Beautiful answer.
And when you don't have that, it's just awful.
Yeah.
And I say a lot of times, and I know government's not supposed to talk about religion. I tell people when I marry them, if you ask me, pick a church of your choosing. I don't get into all that. But I just know when I see the olden pictures, of a gathering in a park, and there's 300 to 400 people wearing ties and dress clothes, and they cook their little lunch and they're meeting for that day in a peaceful way. It's just kind of sad.
Yeah.
We come out of church, but it's the world, and it happens to me. We're getting out of church, and we got to get to this and get to that, and it's scheduled. And we shouldn't schedule things. It should be a day of rest, but it's not.
No.
And that's me and you.
Yeah.
So, I admit, there's a lot of struggles, but if you just visit some of these organizations, and there's love and there's want to, and it's not broken by any means here in Guernsey County and in Ohio, and I know we like getting mad at the governor or this and that, but we got a pretty good governor right now, and he gets it, and he throws them words out there, and he lets the people vote on. That's the way it's supposed to be done. It's not supposed to be a dictatorship. It's not supposed to be one group runs everything. Grandpa always said if one group gets a little crazy, then another group comes on, and that's always been true now. Right now it's a little lopsided for obvious reasons in my mind, but now I've got a lot of friends that be like, I can't believe you said that, and it's challenging.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of small town. We know each other, and you know the mayor, and you know the councilman, you know the township trustee, and it's okay. It's okay. And the big boys and girls, they're learning off us right now. They're trying to find their way back. Hopefully they'll find it.
Yeah.
But on to your question, those are the two things that run hand in hand. And then the family's in there, but that's people. And then church, God.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we are 2 for 2 on this podcast with people saying that people are the most important resource.
Wow.
And 3 for 3 if you added my answer, because that is my answer. I never disclosed that until the end, but people is also my answer.
Well, I mean, that's, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Even my business, when they walk through that door, it's how are you doing, Mary, Bob, Bill, Ann, and how's your family? And that's the things you do. And and then we march on together. And then when we lose somebody, out there, you learn from them people.
You do. What's a life worth living if you don't teach lessons to the people around you?
I'm going to do something weird.
No, it's not weird at all.
This guy here, I don't know if people can see that or not.
Yeah, it looks like it should work.
That's just a good buddy of mine, and it's just one of many that's in this room, but Don Bishop and his dog, and they would go up and down. He ran the baskets on Main Street and watered them for ever and ever and set the present. We still follow his recipe, the fertilizer, the theory, the pressurized gun, the golf cart. Back in the day, it was just developed under him. We've had 3 or 4 Main Street coordinators, and we just lost Don this last year. Anyhow.
Yeah.
But that's what Cambridge, Guernsey County, people like that. And he just showed up one day. Didn't work as much as he used to. He's, senior, traveling. He says, mind if I water them flowers? And he just took off, And we have those kind of people. Dickens and Cambridge Glass and Main Street and the Lights and barbershoppers and Lions Club, Kiwanis, Rotary.
All of them.
I mean, just everything. I mean, it's just incredible, really.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thanks for coming. I'm very glad you did it. Yeah. Come up, yeah.
I'm sure we run into each other all the time, so I'll see you sometime very soon.
You came to the CIC meeting, and that's, I wish we're starting to get a crowd where we're going to have to move it. I don't know where we're going to go to. Because all of them, we could consider that big. We put council chambers just a little bit bigger, and then maybe area agencies got a room in there. But then after that, the armory echoes a little bit too much.
Pritchard, yeah.
They get a lot of them, no question. But that's when a person goes, what did you think of that when you see all goes on in there?
Oh, that's anyone who has not been to a CIC meeting here in Guernsey County. If you want to feel more optimistic about your community and that things are being done, go to a CIC meeting. Get involved in these groups because
just put an ear to the ground.
Yes, yeah.
Because sooner or later, there's a chance that one of those things is going on is close to your geography area.
Yep.
And yeah, because there's times when you are disconnected, and it's no newspaper, no one cares, no one's doing anything. That's just the way it is, and that's not true.
No, it is not true.
We're working hard at it, and as we close in this thing, therein lies a challenge. We have more informational things at our fingertips than ever before. But getting information out from the first person to the thousandth person, it's impossible. It's unbelievable. Yep. It's worse now than it was.
Yep.
And I don't know why that is.
And that's part of the reason I wanted to do this, because I feel like our community, we know some names, but we don't know the person a lot of times. And you today explaining who you are and all the other things you do outside of work, but also showing your passion for this community is exactly why I wanted to do this. And us talking about all the things that are going on in Cambridge and Guernsey County, that's another thing that I wanted to do with this, so that people know there are people out here actually trying to solve the problems. And if they want to get involved and help, all they have to do is reach out, and we will, Big Tent here, we'll gladly embrace you.
Well, and you know, you tell me your top 3 interests, and we'll hook you up to where, I mean, there's got to be one of them somewhere.
Yep. Well, thank you again, Mr. Mayor.